Okay, so the nation's being battered by inflation, flooded with illegals, and, of course, ravaged by crime. But what's got Joe Biden's knickers in a bunch?
Does the disarray on Capitol Hill after your conversation with allies yesterday worry you that you won't be able to deliver the aid that the U.S. has promised to Ukraine?
It does worry me, but I know there are a majority of members of the House and Senate in both parties who have said that they support funding Ukraine.
The Uniparty speaks. I can see Biden's new bumper stickers. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, make Kyiv great again. Joining me now, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Senator, I watched this. I watched this Ukraine stuff. I'm thinking, I'm in New York, a city that I love. I used to, live here years ago when it was a lot safer. But you see the deteriorating conditions on the streets here. Just walking over to the hotel, you see it. And it's everywhere in urban America, and it's spilling over into the suburbs. And what he's most focused on is to make sure, come hell or high water, Ukraine gets what it needs. Come on.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous, Laura. And by the way, the American people, especially conservatives, are completely fed up with it. You can go through the list of every single problem, the border, the fentanyl problem, the crime problem, the high inflation. All of these things are far more important to the American people, as they should be, than defending the border of Ukraine. We have to be honest with ourselves about the corruption in that country. But even if it was a perfect country, there are problems here at home that deserve our focus and deserve the attention of the government of this country. What happened last week in both the House and the Senate should serve as a wake-up call to the Ukraine First caucus on Capitol Hill. The American people are over it. So there may be some way, Laura, for them to try to shove another $70 or $80 billion in Ukraine funding down the throats of the House and the Senate. They're going to have to fight through me to get it done. But more importantly, they're going to have to overcome the frustration of the American people. This is really the fight of the next couple of weeks. The Uniparty is really going to drive this Ukraine stuff home. People need to wake up, they need to call their congressman, and they need to push back against putting the interests of a country 6,000 miles away ahead of our own.
Well, Biden doesn't seem to care, though, if Congress actually approves more funding for Ukraine. He'll figure out a way around it.
Without additional funding, how long will the United States be able to support Ukraine?
We can support Ukraine in the next tranche that we need, and there is another means by which we may be able to find funding for that, but I'm not going to get into that now.
Oh, wait, should we expect more accounting errors on the horizon? Remember that little trick they pulled? Senator Vance, the people of America couldn't get via Trump $5 billion to secure our border with a wall. But this guy's like, oh, no, we got tricks up our sleeve for Ukraine. I mean, they can always fund the money for Ukraine, find it somewhere. They'll find it, come hell or high water. Could this be, by the way, a benefit that maybe will come out of a difficult situation in the House with the ouster of McCarthy? Could this end up hurting the Ukraine First caucus?
Well, Laura, first of all, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. You have the President of the United States issuing a slap in the face of constitutional governance. Congress gets to decide what to do with the American people's money. He enforces the laws. He doesn't write the appropriations bills himself. It's really disgraceful to hear the president talk like that. But part of the reason why he's able to do it, and this goes to your question about the House, Laura, is for too long Congress has failed to provide proper oversight of what is fundamentally a one-party actor in Washington, D.C. That is changing, though. I think a lot of the shakeup in the House has sent a message to people that Congress is not going to give a blank check to Ukraine funding, and they're not going to give a blank check to the Biden administration. That's a good message to send, but we got to keep hammering it, Laura, because the next 3 weeks are really when we win or lose this battle.
Now, who are you looking at from the Senate side? Who would you like to see as the next speaker?
Well, Laura, none of my business. I'm a senator. The House guys are going to figure it out.
Okay.
I, of course, love Jim Jordan, the great congressman from the state of Ohio. Good friend of mine, and I hope that whoever the House selects, and I'm certainly backing Jim, that it's a person who puts the interests of our citizens first. We so desperately need a House Speaker that is a counterbalance to Joe Biden, not a rubber stamp. I think Jim Jordan would do that job. Of course, there are others who would do that job, too. We'll let the House figure it out.
All right, Senator Vance, thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.